Jay, what does Trevor Lawrence need to do this season to just kind of take the next step, franchise quarterback for the Jaguars? He's got weapons all around him. Added Mitch Morse.
That's not really a weapon.
That was
Come on.
They got
Give some center love.
showing my center some love here. Weapon. They Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Evan
Lost
Ingram.
their best weapon in Calvin Ridley.
Questionable.
Oh,
They got your guy in the draft, Brian Thomas from LSU.
Their number one weapon is their back.
Yep.
By far. He's a
Etienne.
very good back. He can do it all. Between the tackles outside, he's got the speed to beat you outside, get on the perimeter. He's got enough power and enough vision to get inside there and read it. So he's the key. As far as Trevor is concerned, he's like one of the biggest head-scratching guys I've ever evaluated in my life. Even at Clemson. I mean, you see a couple throws, you're like, holy cow, this is the best player I've ever seen. Then you see a game, it's like, who is this guy? And why is he missing a hitch by 12 yards in the dirt? So his consistency is my biggest issue with him. I know they had some injuries last year, and that had a major effect on him.
He was banged up.
But his accuracy, the simple throws that a quarterback has to make on a 95% conversion rate, he makes them about 65%, which is they're not good enough defensively or offensively to overcome some balls that he should hit.
Yeah.
So his consistency is what he's got to prove that he can do week-to-week basis. Right, he's got enough weapons, you said. I don't know if he does or not. But it's a talent.
I think so.
I don't know what I'd do with him. I might be on your side on this one. I might not pay this quarterback this much money.
Come on,
You know what I mean? I actually
over,
might
pal.
be.
I mean, they were 8-3 at one point last year. They didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like that's a head scratcher in itself. Like how does that happen? I mean,
I could make a highlight film of Trevor Lawrence. You would say that this guy's a free agent quarterback from Syracuse. And I can make a highlight tape. You'd say this is the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah.
His great plays are really good, but his bad plays, he just has too many. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For him to be an elite quarterback and the highest paid quarterback or one of them in the league, he has got to eliminate the poor play, the poor decisions, the pocket feel that is doesn't look comfortable in the pocket when the pocket gets muddy. He's got a lot of work to do for me to be convinced that he's a franchise quarterback.
If he wasn't the first overall pick, would he still be starting for you?
He'd probably be starting. He's got talent. He can make the throws. He can run. I mean, yeah. I'm just concerned that his development rate has not been accelerated.
Yeah.
It's actually was accelerated and then it's slowed down. It's just been stop and go.
He's hanging
It's
out
like that.
at
It's like-
Jacksonville Country
It's
Club.
like it's like that Lincoln that you drive outside there. It's just you can't really. It just doesn't go fast.
It's trustworthy.
Yeah, he's trusted. He's a great kid. There's no doubt about it.
Great
He
kid.
wants to be great. He works hard. I got nothing personality-wise about him. He's what you want.
Yeah.
Physically, he's what you want. Production, not yet.
Yeah. I remember watching him, 2 years ago, the playoff game. He throws 4 picks in the first half.
Comes back and wins.
Comes back and wins, right? I think that's the perfect explanation for what Jay's
And
saying.
those
It's
picks,
like,
it wasn't like they were batted at the line and tipped up.
Yeah,
There
no.
were some bad ones.
Bad ones, right? Not seeing flat defenders, hitting them in the. But that's the perfect way to describe him. And I believe in Trevor Lawrence. I think he's got weapons. I think this is his year. He's got Christian Kirk, Etienne. You said is the X factor.
Christian Kirk's his guy, and
Should never let him leave
Evan
Arizona.
Ingram. Those are his two comfort. When he lost Christian Kirk last year, that hurt him a lot.
Yeah.
Because he does all the stuff in the slot. He does
Right,
all
he
the
moves
slot
around,
fades,
he's-
moves
yep.
around, does option routes and all that stuff. When they lost him, it was a big deal. And really wasn't quite that ready to take over those tough, in-between the hashes type catches that Christian Kirk would do.
Yeah, and I think the addition of Brian Thomas Jr. is going to help. Speed guy, right? Maybe not fully replace losing Calvin Ridley, but he's going to be a good player for a long time.
Brian Thomas will help out Travis because you're going to want to cloud him a little bit. You're going to want to put a safety over the top because he can flat out run.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to want to help your corners out. You get a safety over the top. Now you get a lighter box for Travis and that running game. Their offensive lines. They added Cleveland. I think they got Brandon Sheriff at right guard.
Yep.
I think
King.
offensive line they got a little bit better, which helps. So between the tackles, Doug likes the inside zones weak, and he'll run some strong stuff. But Travis is the guy. Higher on everything that Travis has that you're going to give me is what I'd take.
Yeah, he can catch out of the backfield.
He's
He
one of
throw
my favorite
screens.
fantasy backs to take.
Houston Texans, right? CJ Stroud coming off an unbelievable rookie year. Right, lots of first, second round picks on this team that are kind of maturing and getting later in their contracts. Good players across the board, right? They added Joe Mixon, they added Stefon Diggs, right, to an already pretty solid receiver room. Nico Collins, Noah Brown, Tank Dell, right? When you look at this offense, good tight ends, Dalton Schultz, right? I mean, these guys on paper look like they're gonna build off what they did last year and have another great season.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, I love this group. I think they're ascending towards the top of the entire AFC, and I think one move that maybe has been slightly overlooked this offseason is Danielle Hunter going down to Houston. Like, they had average pass rushers at best. I mean, obviously they had the first round.
Yeah, Will Anderson.
Will Anderson, but he's an 8 to 10 sack a year guy, right?
Yeah.
Now you get Danielle Hunter's a 20 sack guy, right?
Yeah.
That's a game changer. And then the offensively, listen, I was watching them against the Bucs last year, and I think they were just like an average middle-of-the-road team. And then I started just watching some of the throws C.J. Stroud made in that game, and I was like, oh, they're for real. And they just kept getting better and better and better. Yeah. This is a team, they're going to win the AFC South, hands down, best team in the AFC South, and got a chance to compete in the AFC.
So you going to disagree?
You go first.
I love
want to
Houston.
follow you up.
I love Houston. I love CJ. I like his demeanor, his leadership, his poise. He does not get rattled, nor will he ever get rattled. He has got that demeanor that you want.
Yeah.
He doesn't flinch. Pressure, muddy pockets, clean pockets. He's everything you want as a quarterback. And then you got the weapons around him. Yeah, Joe Mixon. Offensive line's pretty good. You had a good offensive coordinator. The kid did a great job as a rookie. Sloak did an excellent job calling plays, keeping teams off balance. They do need to run the ball a little bit better. I think adding a bigger back will help about a lot. So, yeah.
I like Pierce, too.
Yeah.
Pierce is a good
started
runner.
out really good. Then he kind of went, and then he went back to Singletary, and now they go to Joe Mixon. The good thing about Joe is he's every down back. He's really good out of the backfield, catching the ball, running the football, obviously. So, yeah, I'm with you. Defensively, adding Hunter, they're one of the best corners in the league. They had a great scheme. You know, I think their culture is being built the right way. D'Amico Ryans is that type of guy.
Yes.
You know, he's not going to put up with any BS.
Yes.
You know, it's his way or the highway, but players love to play for him. You can see that. So they are definitely going to be the team to be reckoned with in the South for a long time.
Yeah. I love D'Amico Ryans. I've never played for him, but
I do
he
too.
was a great player. I think he's played against him when he was in San Francisco for a couple of years. To talk about culture, he's establishing that culture. I mean, I think he is a great coach, great defensive scheme. He's hard, like he doesn't ever give you free stuff. He's hard to beat. And then he's got these young offensive players that he's kind of molding, and he's brought in some veterans, and he's got full control of that group, and I think they're in a great position.
All right, ready?
Here we go.
We're using words like perfect situation. They have all these, like the culture is unbelievable. I get all that. I mean, Stefon Diggs he left Minnesota because he wasn't getting the ball. He was issues in Buffalo because he wasn't getting the ball. He's going to go to Houston.
They don't need Stefon Diggs. They didn't need him
He's
last
in
year.
the locker room. He's a leader in the locker room. He's going to be the
They
guy.
can sit him. They'll still have Nico Collins and Tank Dell.
That's the issue I think we're going to run into. You think Stefon Diggs is going to sit happily and say, hey, I'm good not getting the ball 10 times a game?
I think that when you have a quarterback like C.J. Stroud, he will not put up with Stefon Diggs.
You think a second-year player is going to walk up to one of the best receivers in football?
I actually do. Some quarterbacks have that ability, that leadership, that aura about them that they can control a lot of uncomfortable situations. I think CJ has the ability to communicate with everybody from the front office to the players to the linemen, the defense. You watch him. I think it won't be a problem. I think Stefon Diggs will get his touches because now he has, CJ. I mean, he's had a good quarterback for a long time.
I mean, he had 1B.
This might be 1C coming up.
Where are you going to put them all? You got to put them all in there somewhere. Look, I'm not saying they're not going to win games. They're going to win games. I do like them to win.
Stefon Diggs' addition is going to hurt them. They're going to all of a sudden.
I just think they're going to drink their own Kool-Aid a little bit. I was in New York my last year in New York. Brandon Marshall came out and said, "This is the best team on paper." You just said best. Look at them on paper. Yeah. All of a sudden, this league is all about how you wake up on Sundays. And when you wake up thinking that you're the team to beat and you're not the underdog, you're not the young guys trying to prove it to everybody, that starts to seep in. And D'Amico Ryans really has his work cut out for him. You have some veterans that come in and say, hey, we're great. This is the perfect situation to be in. We're the team to beat. they're going to lose some games they shouldn't lose, and is that going to come back to bite them? They don't go far in the playoffs. I don't see it happening. It's a wake-up call. They can turn this thing around. They got 4 more years with CJ on that contract to make it happen. I just don't think this is the year. That's it.
I didn't say they're going to win the Super Bowl. I said they're going to win the South. Now, we're talking about 2 different things. I think they're going to be competitive, and they have the ability in a 1-game playoff to beat just about anybody on their schedule with the players they have on the roster. Don't you?
I'm going lower.
Do you
on the
think
wins.
with this team right now, their defense, Nico, and the quarterback that they have, they can compete with any team in the NFL right now?
100%.
All right, then. That's all. So we agreed. Good job, buddy.
Good to see you.
Stefon Diggs higher or lower 950
Even your handshake's
yards
terrible.
receiving?
Lower.
Lower?
Nico Collins, Tank Dell coming back healthy.
Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz.
You would put Dalton Schultz in that category, but Nico is a good player.
Very good player.
Tank Dell is
Really
a really
good
good player.
Correct.
I don't even know why they added Stefon Diggs.
They also drafted Cade
Tank Dell
Stover
did get
from
shot.
Ohio
Hopefully
State.
he's okay. Hopefully he's okay.
yeah.
He did get grazed a little bit in the club. But he's a good player. So having those 3 tight ends out there with Dalton Schultz and the Brevin Jordan guy, he
Yeah,
makes
he's
some
pretty
plays.
good too, yeah.
You know, so they have some pretty good players, and so yeah, I love them.
Lower. Too many weapons. They got to win 12 to win the South. They're going to.
Why? Who's going to be in competitive?
I'm telling you. Indy's going to be good.
Let's get there.
What does a healthy Anthony Richardson mean for the Colts? I mean, this guy had a good 4 or 5 or 6 game run, I think, this year. Everyone in that organization I know is high on him. My old quarterback coach, Cam Turner, is the quarterback's coach in Indy. Shout out Cam. Loves Anthony Richardson. Loves him, right? Shane Steichen loves him, right? I think he has to stay healthy. I don't know if he's really ever proved that. Big, strong, physical, can make all the throws. And, you know, they added, shout out UT, Mitchell, receiver. I think they're going to be all right. Their defense is better than what you think. What do you think?
I think this team's a sleeper. I think this is a team that, because Anthony Richardson was hurt last year, nobody's even mentioning him. Nobody's even talking about Indianapolis. I think this kid's super talented, and you're right. As long as he can stay healthy, which again, we could say that about every person in the league, right?
Yeah, right. But
if
he needs to.
He needs to stay healthy. Probably smart move would be not to lower your shoulder when you're running your little quarterback sweeps or whatever.
Yeah.
Just get down, especially when you've already got 10, 12 yards.
Yeah.
But they have so much talent, not only on offense, their interior defensive line with Buckner and Grover. I mean, those are 2 of the hardest guys I've ever played against. They got talent beyond talent beyond talent. They got a good running game. They got a great offensive line. They have the makings to be very good. And I think this is a team that is going to challenge with Houston. I think this is going to be a very good team in the AFC South.
I mean, Houston barely beat them to go to the playoffs last year, right?
With Minshew, right?
That's right. It was like a little throw to the running back out of the backfield. They had it.
They had him.
So I think you're right. I think there's going to be some battles in this division between Indy and Houston.
This is perfect. Anthony Richardson is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy football this year. That little stretch that he had, he was one of the best fantasy football quarterbacks. Jonathan Taylor coming back. He was a little pissed off last year with the whole contract dispute. He's back. He's paid. He's healthy and happy. Pittman, true number 1 receiver. And then I got to give a shout out to my Syracuse guy on defense, Zaire Franklin. One of the most underrated linebackers, tackle machine. They drafted our guy, Leatu Latu, I think is the best pass rusher in the draft. I love, pair him with Buckner on one side running games. They're going to wreak havoc.
The only thing I can say is, you say Steichen and the quarterback coach, they love this kid. They love him as a kid, I'm sure. He's a great kid. I know he wants to be great. Everything I've heard about him as a human being and a competitor and a leader is what you want.
great, yeah.
He's got 4 games he's shown, all right? Is he a good enough passer? He's got a strong arm, but he's going to have to throw the ball.
He hasn't didn't play much in college either, right?
I just remember him at Florida. I saw some passes that he almost killed some people in the 3rd row. I mean, this guy, he's got a cannon, but he doesn't know where it's going half the time. But I do think they were 10th in the league in offense last year running the football. If they're not in the top 3, I'll be shocked. Adding Anthony Richardson to the mix and Taylor, those 2 standing next to each other, that's some scary stuff.
Yeah.
People don't realize, and you're right, like you said it with, I think it was maybe Derrick Henry and Lamar too.
Yeah.
The ability of having a running quarterback and what that does to the run game by holding that backside end opens holes from this to that.
Yeah.
Like that.
You know why? You know what else is hard about the Colts? Playing at Indy. For some reason, it's a fast track, and that it's like
What was your record
it's
at
not
Indy?
very bright. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
it's just a weird place
Yeah.
to play, and it feels like I don't know. I hate playing there.
Feels like you're going to the combine.
First round.
Yeah,
First round.
exactly. It's just not. It just doesn't feel right. Then you get hit in the mouth. You're down 7-0. Everybody's like, get me back on the bus.
Yeah.
But this team is going to rely on Anthony, and we all hope that he does well. I know everybody likes him, but he's still got to go out and play more than 4 and do some better things with his arm that he, shown at Florida. But he definitely has all the tools. It'll be fun to watch.
Josh Downs pretty good. Alec Pierce made a lot of plays last year. They got a pretty nice little receiving core.
Tight
They
end's a
brought
little
in
bit of
Joe
a question
Flacco.
mark.
No, Jelani Woods is
Jelani
a
Woods.
physical specimen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to be top 3 in running.
They brought in Joe Flacco.
So hire Jonathan Taylor. Hire Anthony Richardson, rushing yards.
Pittman, higher, lower receiving yards, set at 1,050.
Ooh,
Lower.
Higher.
I'm going lower as well. I like Josh Downs, and I think Mitchell, your boy from
Mitchell's
Texas,
gonna be
is
good.
going to
He's
be
a-
another
he's a
good
good
one.
player.
I just don't think they're going to air it out, but 17 games, Pittman, he'll catch some screens and all that stuff. What's that? 17 into 1,000 is about 80 yards a game.
Yeah, you're the math guru here.
75 yards a game. That's going to be close. I'm still going to go lower.
Tennessee Titans, Will Levis. Do you put mayonnaise in your coffee?
Put butter in it for a little while there. I was doing the keto diet.
What does Brian Callahan need to do this year? I mean, first-year head coach, brought his dad over to be the O-line coach.
Rent this house.
They lost Derrick Henry, right? They still have Hop. So they brought in Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, got some familiarity there from Cincinnati with Callahan, right? Traylon Burks, they drafted that guy pretty high out of Arkansas a few years ago. They got some decent weapons. I don't know if I'm sold on Will Levis or not.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Mason Rudolph will be starting at some point this year, hands
take.
down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't even think it's a question. I thought he played well for Pittsburgh when he got an opportunity last year. I think Will Levis, there's so many question marks. He's got a great deep ball. He's obviously a big guy. He can run the ball. He likes to lower his shoulders. He's probably going to get hurt doing the same thing because he's 240 and thinks he can do that. It's a different world at this level. You know it. I know it. We all know it, right? They got a ton of weapons at receiver. He won't be able to get him the ball. Tony Pollard learned that it's a lot different being the 2 than the 1. Again, you go from Derrick Henry being a constant 1, and now you got a guy that really wasn't great when he was the 1. And I think this team's in a lot of trouble. They draft Latham, big monster mauler guy, but I don't think he's going to be the answer that we were all looking for in Tennessee. Defensively, they're still good, but I think defensively, they were so good because they just took on Vrabel's persona for so long, right? Like they played the right way. They played the way Vrabel wanted them to play. Who knows if that's still going to be the case on defense? I'm down on this team. I think they got a ways to go.
I have nothing great to say about Tennessee, so we can just move on from me. I mean, there's nothing that when I look at this team, I just don't know what their identity is. I don't know who they're, I really have nothing good to say about Tennessee. They're going to finish last in this division. I mean, you thought Jacksonville was going to finish low too, right? So these are the bottom burners. These guys are going to be fighting for a lottery pick next year. You got anything, Gruden?
Well, that's why I think Houston can still win a division at 10-7. That's my whole point, because these guys, they're not winning 3 games.
But Indy.
Yeah, this is these guys were 29th in the league in passing last year. They got a new coach, Will Levis. They got 2 receivers that are pretty identical, and Ridley and Hopkins are talented, don't get me wrong, but the makeup of this team is weird to me.
Yeah.
They go out and draft a mauling offensive lineman. All right, they got all these little bells and whistles on the outside. They're not going to be able to get it to them. Right?
Yeah.
Those guys, you think so these guys are going to go crazy in the locker room now.
No
You're
doubt.
right.
Hopkins, Ridley,
Yeah.
D-Hop,
Young quarterback.
got to give him the ball.
got to give him the ball.
New coach who's never called a play, really.
Yeah.
Right? Now, his dad has done some work in the NFL as a head coach and line coach, so that'll help him a little bit. But his dad is more of a, run the ball, can pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
So you got to
We
be
live
pretty
that
standard
world.
in your formations. I just don't really, I can't think of anything positive to say why these guys will compete. You're looking for teams that is going to, who's going to be that team, that weird team that, like Houston last year, that's going to just catch everybody by surprise and win the division or go to the playoffs or whatever. Shock everybody. It ain't gonna be them.
No.
In my opinion.
No.
What do you tell the team when you're coaching a team like this?
You can't lose Derrick Henry and replace him with Pollard. Right? Pollard is, I mean, he's too little. And for the Callahan runs that he likes to run, right? You need a bigger back.
13 personnel.
Yeah, you got to have a bigger back.
Yeah.
So,
what do you say to the team?
Ty.J. Spears
What do you
is
walk
not a
into
big
training
back.
camp and say?
Yeah.
Right? So it's just
Pulling the center and guard around. Yeah, I agree.
Their personality, coaching personality doesn't match the players that they have. Mm-hmm. Right?
Higher or lower, Tony Pollard, 800 rushing yards.
Lower.
I'm going lower. Tony Pollard he's a 10 to 12 carry back to me. He's a change of pace back. He's very good at that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You don't want to give him the ball 15 times a game, line him up in the eye and run between the tackles. That's not.
That's Bill Callahan's way, though.
You
That's
want to
what
be
they
a
do.
shotgun, give him an inside zone, pop an inside zone, maybe a toss crack, get him out there, get him on a flat, get him on a screen.
I'm with you. I think Will Levis has his work cut out for him. Right? He's got some strong personalities on the outside. Those guys are great players. You got to find ways to get them the ball. Right?
Is Will a good enough passer to drop back?
No.
I mean, accurate-wise, to get Calvin Ridley on a dagger or, Hopkins on a post
but I think
corner.
Mason Rudolph is. I've liked Mason Rudolph since college. I know he hasn't played great in the NFL. He's had a bunch of different coordinators, spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh. He may get a chance. We'll see. But this division is run by the Texans, the Colts. I think the Jaguars got a chance if Trevor Lawrence plays at a really high level. And I just don't see the Titans. They've got some issues. I don't see them competing this year.